Hello there everyone, my name is Crazy Caleb, and today we're going to be taking a look at one of my personal new favorite modules that I just recently learned, Faulty RGB Maze. So this is the way the module looks, and word of advice, I would advise you to understand how RGB Maze, the original module, the easier version of this module, understand how this works because this module takes RGB Maze to a little bit of a next level. Now, a couple key things that you're going to be able to notice between Faulty RGB Maze and RGB Maze is the LEDs and the keys, which is going to be these guys here, the red, green, and blue keys, are going to be actually flickering a series of 4 different bits. That's immediately going to be one of the key differences here. They're going to be flickering a series of keys, a series of defective squares, which we're going to use later on, and we're going to get into this module. Now, another little key difference is the most common one I think people use. Keys, of course, is the most visible. Is the fact that the screen on here is actually tilted. Now, there is one other little thing with this screen, is that you would normally get your starting mazes from this. Let me turn down the game volume a little bit. So you normally would get your starting mazes from this display, and normally it would be just a perfect square upright. However, it is tilted a little bit, so that is another little key difference of what you're going to be able to notice here. And the one last thing is with this key here, how you get the mazes, which I'm going to be using the interactive for, is there is the possibility of the 7-segment display being inverted. That is one of the key differences here. That does not pop up in normal RGB maze, but this time, and we also have the possibility of there being a series of letters. So this is going to be the hexadecimal digits. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, as we normally do. However, we have the ability to add on alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, and Foxtrot, which they are displayed down here. Note that it doesn't display these in the original manual, and I would advise you to use the interactive. It makes your life so much easier, and I will be using this in this video. So we have the A, and it shows you also the inverse of each and every single possibility. So for example, the 0 here, the middle part for the normal 0 is not a part of the component, whereas for the inverse, the middle part is the only component here, as you can see. And as a matter of fact, let's get our mazes right now. So red, green, and blue. So it is advised that you know how to break apart red, green, and blue. So I'm going to assume that you already know how to do that. If not, it is advised that you get a little bit of experience with that. Simon Says is a great place to start. There is an RGB combination, a nice little solo that you can do. That's a very good place to start as well. So I would advise you to just know how to break apart RGB off the top of your head. So that's what I'm going to do. So for reds, let's take a look at what we have here. So red is part of yellow, white, and a magenta, and also red itself, which in this case, we can see it forms a 3. As you can see here, the 3 right here is indeed a 3. So red is going to be a maze 3. Now for green is going to be part of green, yellow, white, of course, and a cyan. And taking a look, we have what sort of appears to be an F. Or no, it's going to be a 0 instead, because we have the yellow, green, and then the 3 whites. The center part is not part of green, so that means that this is going to be a 0. And finally, for blue has magenta, cyan, blue itself, and white, which, taking a look, is only going to be with these guys here. Now, this looks like a Juliet, but the Juliet is not a possible character which we can have. So if we take a look down at the Foxtrot here, as we can see, the Juliet down by the 7 segments display, down in the bottom right here, we have this little Juliet, but then this is the inverse of a Foxtrot. And as we can see, the cells that we're currently missing is going to be here, 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 and here, which forms a Foxtrot. So the blue maze is going to be a Foxtrot. So now, let's take a look here. For the tricky part of this module, I'd say about 30% of this is actually getting the initial read, and about 70 to 80% of it is going to be actually navigating around the maze. One other key distinction is the maze normally is an 8x8 RGB maze. However, this maze is a 7x7. The key pieces are a little bit bigger because of the fact that there is these defective spaces, which I will get into later. It's going to help you navigate around and make your life a little bit easier. So let me get into this. So now what we need to do is we need to figure out where our keys are. So let's actually set that up. So our key A for red, red key is going to be A, B, C, A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's an alpha 5. So we'll place that key right there. The green maze is going to be, it's a 5. It's in delta, so delta 5. So delta 5 is the key right here. That's delta 6, excuse me. And next up is going to be N echo 1 for blue. Echo 1 right there, and just like that, we have all of our keys set up. Or excuse me, this and this. No, I was right. Okay. Alpha 5, Delta 5, Echo 1, all of our keys have been placed. So we have that figured out. Now, the next thing that we want to do is we want to actually set up the maze. So let's actually get the maze character's input. So so red was a 3. Let's put this as a 3. It'll fix the maze to the maze that we need to use. For green, it's going to be a 0. We're going to leave that as a 0. And for blue, it's going to be a foxtrot all the way down to the bottom here. And just like that, that's good to go. And now for the final bit, before we get into the actual defective stuff, we're going to be taking a look at these little LEDs in the corners, whether it be top left, top right, bottom left, and bottom right. And we need to rotate this little top LED for each one to that position. So red stays in the top left, so we're going to leave that one alone. And we're going to use these horizontal and vertical buttons right here to move them in the correct position. And the cyan is a mixture of green and blue. So green and blue are both going to be in the bottom left. So we're going to do that right here and right here. So we're going to do it the bottom left like this. And now, let's get into the actual key part of this module, the maze defects. So what exactly do the maze defects do for you? So what happens is that we're going to get a series of defective spaces for each individual maze based off of these keys that we have here. So what this means is that we'll get a series of different tiles and a rule that corresponds to each of these. So, for example, this one for 1010, the defective spaces will lie on even rows. So, for example, let's say if that was red. So, lie on even spaces. I'm going to use the mark faulted row. So, we're going to lie on even spaces, row 2, row 4, and row 6. And what this essentially means is that if we want to change mazes from red, green, and blue, they loop around. Again, I'm assuming that you know how RGB maze works. What we want to do is, for example, say if we were in this maze and we went and we got the red key. What this means is that we would not be able to change mazes at these specific spots. These are defective spaces, and for those of you who don't know what defective is, it means it's a faulty or a space that does not work for you. So, this is what's going to happen, is that this module limits the ability of which you're going to be able to move from maze to maze. So that's the key part here. It's a very tricky module because it can take a little bit of roaming around, but this is why it has a lot bigger pieces compared to the normal RGB maze. Let me pop up the original RGB. So the RGB maze normally has pieces of 4. It has the L piece, it has the T piece, it has the 1x4, so on and so forth. This is kind of the way that it normally looks. This is the reason why some of these pieces are a lot longer and more all over the place, is to account for these rules. Because of the fact that these defective spaces can be really tricky to get by, that's what's going to make this a little bit tricky. That's why these spaces are a little bit bigger. It might be a little bit easier to get the keys, however, it's not that easy to get to the spaces that you need to get to the keys. So keep that in mind. So let's actually get into how you actually read this module. So the keys will flicker will give a sequence of 4 bits each. For each 4 bits, if the key is visible, the bit is 1. If the key is not visible, the bit is 0. The keys will be visible for a full second between repeats of sequences. So this is going to be essentially the end. As you can see here, all of them flash together. That means that's the ending, which is looping back to the beginning. So now, kind of what I tend to do is I kind of tend to use the other keys to give me an idea where each of the bits are located, because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky to sort of figure out the speed of it. But essentially, with enough practice, you'll be able to get this just fine. So, and a sequence, bop, 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 bop. That looks like it's just a 1, 0, 0, 0. It's that beginning flash right there, and nothing else until the end of the sequence. So yeah, that's a 1, 0, 0, 0. Now for green, we have end of sequence. Bum, 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 bum. So end of sequence 1, 0. Okay, so it appears to be flashing immediately after and immediately before the end. So it's going to be probably a 1, 0, 0, 0. 0, 0, 1, excuse me. End of sequence. Bum, 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 bum. Now, I believe that there is enough space in between the first flash and the second flash to make this look like it's a 0, 1, 0, 1. And note that when the end of the sequence flash, the blue is not immediately flashing afterwards. It's flashing a little bit afterwards. It's not immediately flashing with the red and the green, so that means that this first bit is simply going to be 0 for the blue. Now for the second, now immediately flashes afterwards. and then it immediately flashes like right before the end, and that should be 0, 1, 0, 1. So now we have our different defects. Now, what exactly do these defects mean? So 1, 0, 0, 0 is going to be corresponding to this first one here. So the defective spaces lie neither on the edge nor on the center row or column, of the grid. So let's figure out what our center row and column are and what the edges are. So the edge is simply just the outer ring that surrounds the module. And the center row and center column is exactly what you think. This is why it's a 7. This is why it's a 7 by 7, because there is going to be a center point. Likewise, with an 8 by 8, there would be 2 rows that could equal the center. So that's kind of what that counts for. So the defective spaces lie neither on the edge nor on the center row or column of the grid. So let's actually mark the center row, center column, and each of the outer areas. So we have this and this, and this, and this. So what we want to do is we want to essentially avoid these little 4 2x2 grids here, because these guys lie neither on the edge nor on the center row of the column grid, like so. So let's actually do that. So let's fix this. Let's unhighlight all of these guys. And essentially let's highlight each of these individual ones. Let's do this, 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 this. And these gray spots are going to be our defective spaces. This means that we cannot transform from the red maze to the green maze in one of these 16 spaces. So keep that in mind. Next up, 1, 0, 0, 1. Let's find this in here. So 1, 0, 0, 1 right here. Now, the defective spaces will lie on the same row as the location the maze was entered from. This is a bit of a trickier one too, because of the fact that we need to pay attention to which we enter in. The red cases happen to be a guaranteed spots. However, the defective spaces for green will be a little bit different. They will be a entry row. That's what the fault is. These are fixed faults. This is going to be an entry row fault. So they lie on the same row as the location the maze was entered from. So that is the tricky part of this, is that you're going to have to do some moving around in order to get off the same row that you entered from. So let's take a look at our last rule here. 0, 1, 0, 1. 0, 1, 0, 1 is going to be right here. And it's going to be the defective spaces of have 1 odd and 1 even coordinate. Now, this is a bit of a trickier rule here. And this one's actually just quite annoying. So what we need to do is we need to have essentially a parity of 1, 1, 2 odds, or a 0, 0 evens. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So let's mark all of the cases where it's a little bit weird. So, so it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7, 0. I guess we can start here. Then 1, 0, 3, 0, or excuse me, 3, 1. What am I doing? So we'll do 1, 2. 1, 2. Excuse me. Let me figure this out. Hold on. So let me say it's going to be a Bravo 1, which is 2, 1. So yeah. So I'm going to be using the column first. So then we have a Delta 1. Then we have a Foxtrot 1. And then likewise, I think it's going to be simply just creating a diamond. So we have Alpha 2, then Charlie 2. Yeah, and then it's going to simply be repeating the rows, I believe. And then we simply do this again, and we're simply going to create this pattern. I'm going to make sure of this, of course. But yeah, we can get some really annoying cases for this to happen in. So, and just like that, we have created our grids. We have Alpha 2, we have Alpha 4, we have Alpha 6, then we have Bravo 1, Bravo 3, a Bravo 5, yep, and a Bravo 7. So essentially what we're doing here is we're using alphanumeric positions, of course, because A equals 1, B equals 2, and so on and so forth. And that's kind of the way that we're doing this. So all of these spaces have 1 odd and 1 even coordinate. Just like that, just like this. And then, oh, excuse me, that was for blue. That was for blue, excuse me. So let's actually completely reset this maze. I can remember the positions. So it was a 3, 0, and an F. Glad I caught that. 3, 0, F. Come on. 3, 0, F. And then, flip these guys, flip these guys. Maze positions being U, U, and a U. Yep. Okay. And then we need to fix this. We have these little 2x2 spaces. We said it was a entry row, and this is going to be bam, 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 bam. And we're essentially just going to repeat this. Okay, and now we're all set to go. So now we have everything set up. We have all of our keys here. We have all of our defect spaces. We have all of the rotations set correctly. Now let's enter into the maze. There is one more catch that we need to pay attention to, which I'm going to get to later on. So let's take a look. Let's hit any LE in the grid, and let's randomly spawn in the grid. So we are currently at A, B, C, D, E, F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're currently at Foxtrot 5. So A, B, C, D, E, F, 5 right there. Now, the beginning part, it's going to be like this the entire time because we need to figure out an offset. Now, what exactly do we do with this offset? This offset is essentially going to give us what it looks like to go from one saves point, so let's go up. So we are able to currently travel from this point here to some other point in the maze, in the green maze. This is not a defect spot. This works for us, so let's figure out what this needs to do. Now, immediately right off the bat, one thing I cannot stress enough is that this is going to be an offset. We're going to be having an offset of something moving to the right by some amount and to the down by some amount. And essentially what it does, all of it loops. All of it will essentially give you some sort of loop. So you'll end up, if you happen to go through all 3 mazes successfully, it will bring you back to the exact same point. Just keep that in mind. The blue maze does this to recover it. So all you simply need to do is figure out the offset of the red maze and the offset of the green maze to get you back to a starting point from the blue maze back to the red. So from Foxtrot 5, we moved down. How many times did we move down? Keep in mind, this loops around. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. We went down 4 times, so we're going to increase our offset to 4. And as you can see, on the blue maze, it increases the offset, or it decreases the offset to -4, which essentially means 4 ups. It's the way that it keeps that in mind. And now, we're currently at this position in the green maze, right here. So now, what we need to do is, since we looked at the entry row, we need to essentially get off of this row. Unfortunately, we cannot get to any keys quite yet. Simply, this first little bit is going to be figuring out our offsets. So let's do that. Let's go down 1, and let's see what we can get from here. So we went right 1 and down 1. So we went 1 right, 1 down from this current position right here. And just like that, we ended up at the Gulf 3. That's what we wanted to do. And now, if all things have been done correctly, we should end up, we ended up right here. So if all things have been done correctly, we should go to the left 1 and then up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which gets us back to this exact same location right here. So we go from here, left 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just like that, we would get back to that original point that we were at. So if we were to teleport from here, that would get us back there. However, what we want to do is we want to figure out if we can actually get to the red key at all. If we can get to any part of this red key, so that would make our lives a little bit simpler. So let's see if we can go down here. That does not quite take us there. We go here. So it does not look like we'll be able to do anything at this moment. So let's simply go back to our starting point here at the red maze. And let's see if we can figure out how to get to potentially the green key and maybe the blue key and then the red key. So let's figure this out. So if we were to go down to one of these 3 spots here, right here, if we were to teleport from right here, we would be able to get into the portion of the green maze to get this green key. So let's do that. So let's go not down, let's go left, down, down. We teleport from here. We go right here. Now if we go down left, we have the green key acquired. Perfect. And then from this point, let's see if we can actually teleport. We entered right here. So we need to get out of this row. So if we can go up, up, by some reason, shape, or form. We cannot, not quite. So let's see what we can do. So if we can go down here, perhaps we can maybe have a chance of getting to that red key over here. So if we were to go right here, that would take us right there. And if we were to go right here, if we were to teleport from this space, that would take us up to there, which is not what we want. Let's try maybe here, here, or here, perhaps? No, okay. So let's go back a step. So this was our current position of which we entered in from. So let's try maybe here. And what we can do is we can go here and see if we can get to any point in the red maze that we want to. Not quite. At this point, we might be just better off just going and just doing a Hail Mary. Let's try here, perhaps. So let's try going from here. Let's go up to this little portion here. So let's go right, up, up, up. So now we've started here. So we're currently out of this maze. So we'd be going right here. And it would take us over to a Foxtrot 3, or simply one right, one down, which would take us right here, like so. Now let's go left, up, left, I guess to a different portion here. And that would take us to this bit of the red maze right here. So let's try that. So let's go here. Now we're currently right there. And let's see if we can formulate a pattern of which we can get to the blue maze. Now, I do see a potential pattern of which we can do it. So if we were to go, for example, our current position would be right here. So if we were to go from this position and we were to teleport immediately right over to the green maze, what we can do is we can move. Now, we need to keep in mind that our defect space was the lie on the same row as the location the maze was entered in. So if we were to go perhaps right down there, that would unfortunately not work. So what we want to do is we want to perhaps see if we can teleport to this current position in the maze so we can get to the blue maze, but we also need to make sure that we consider the faulty part of it and make sure we don't lie on any defect spaces or the same row on the green maze. So we're very close to actually being able to pull this off. However, we need to simply appear from one of these two spots here. So actually, it appears that we actually need to use the red maze to our advantage to get to this red key right here, and that's going to be our goal for right now. So what we can do is we can actually take a look around and see if we can get to a blue position from this current position in the green maze. So I believe that our best instinct is going to be taking us to this position in the green maze right here. So if we were to move down and then to the left, let's see what happens. So we would end up here at this blue maze, which we can teleport from that position. So we can, so we entered up in the top left, so we were to go left, down, down, left. So we would end up right there. We would end up at this little bit right here, which would allow us to teleport to this red maze. This is where we need to go. So we're going to teleport from this here, and then we simply teleport from the blue maze to the red maze right over here, which will be right below the red key, which we need to get to. Moving up, we have the red key now. So now, we have the ability to essentially give us the blue key. So if we were to teleport, which we are able to teleport on the edge, because these are our defect spaces, if we were to teleport right here, that would take us back up to Alpha 2 in the green maze, which is kind of where we need to go. We would simply do Alpha 2, so let's go Alpha 2 in the green maze, so that's our current position now. We cannot use any of this row, but what we do know is the transformation from the green maze to the blue maze is simply one right and one down, which we can move one right and one down to this position in the maze right here, to a Bravo 2, which is part of the blue maze of which we can get the blue key from. Let's move up one. It's no longer in the same row. We don't have to worry about the defects of the green maze. Let's move one right, one down. Now let's move up, right, 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 and we finally have our blue key. So we have all three keys now. Now we have to do simply what we do with normal RGB maze and find our exit. So as you just saw, the display changes, and essentially what we're going to get is we're going to get one letter, one number, and one character that is a gibberish. Now, keep in mind that these could still be inverted. These are still going to be inverted regardless. These are still going to be inverted regardless of the fact that there is that this is the maze exit. There still is that chance. So let's break this apart. So, and there's going to be one that's going to give us gibberish. So we have reds. The red that looks like that might be gibberish, because we have the red, we have the magenta, yellow, yellow, magenta, white, which is not really, it's not forming a Charlie, which is not what we want. It's appearing to be gibberish, but it could also be golf. And taking a look at these displays down here, this is indeed forming golf. So this is going to be golf for red. Now for greens, boom and boom. This, I believe, is actually forming to be gibberish, because we have no greens here, here, and here, and we only have the yellows on the left side and the cyan white on the right side. That does not make anything. So I believe our goal is going to be the green maze. And for blue, finally, blue is forming a 3. The blue component is not in the 2 yellows over here. It's in all the rest. That means it's a 3. So our final destination is going to be golf 3 in the green maze. So let's mark this with our mark goal with the green maze. So let's do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 2, 3. And that is going to be our ending position right there. So now we need to figure out how we can get to this position. And one of the things that I can immediately see right off the bat is the fact that we can go back to that original position right here. If we can get to this little bit right here, we can potentially get to the green maze right there. That's our exit. The question is, what can we do from here? So, and actually, first off, let's check if we can get to back to this red maze. So if we were to go back here, we would actually be able to get there, yes. So if we were to go back to this Bravo 2, that would take us back to the portion of which we need to get to the red maze. So let's do that. So let's go left, 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 down. We're currently at Bravo 2. We're going to go right here. We're currently at Alpha 4 right now. So what we can do is we want to move down 1. Or down 2, perhaps. Yes, down 2. Down 2 so we can get to the, excuse me. I might have screwed myself up. Hold on. So if we were to get to the red maze, we want to get to... where is it? We want to get down to this portion instead, actually. So let's figure that out. So our goal is not to get to here. It's instead going to be getting to... likely around here. Or actually, we still can get there from the red maze. We want to get to this position, which we can do. So we can still get to this goal here, which we can do by going to the green maze from moving down twice. This should be Alpha 6. Okay, so now we're currently at this position right now. This is our current position. So if we were to move right up, left, down. Ah, dang it, that's so close. I should have moved up 1. So let's actually just simply go back a couple steps. Okay, so let's go back, right, up, left, down. And if we do right, that'll take us to a different portion of the maze, which we don't want to do. So we're best off going back to Alpha 1, so let's just do this again. Let's go right, up. Oh, I did that wrong. Okay, I guess we're improvising, so let's go, we went right here. So it's up, right, down. Let's go, up, right, down. This is a safe spot to teleport to. This is kind of improvising a little bit, so bear with me. So we teleported to right there. So this is our current position right now. So let's go perhaps a left, down, left, right, left, down. Which will take us to a green. What can we do with this green? Left, up, up. Now can we get to this red point that we need to from this current position? We cannot. Okay. And this is part of what makes this module so very tricky, is the fact that you have to navigate through this maze. And I'm sorry this takes a while to explain, but there is a lot to go over with, and I will probably go through this a little bit faster on the second example that I will give you. So let's go. So our current position is currently right there. Up left. Ooh, we could potentially do something with that right there. So let's go up left. So if we were to teleport from right here, we would end up at this position. That works. Okay. Then we can go perhaps a left, down, left. Here we go. So left, down, left. If we were to teleport from this position, that would end us up right there. Okay. Then we were to go down left to this position. That would take us to red right over there. Right over in the bottom right. Like so. And finally, what we want to do is we want to stay in this exact same position because we would go up, we would go down 4 times. So we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, right below the current position. So if we were to teleport to green, moving 1 up, just like that, is a solved module. So this is exactly what I mean by this module can be very, very tricky, and especially explaining this can be a little bit tricky itself. I will go through this example a little bit faster, but it is essentially just sort of planning it out. This is the joy of using the cursor or the interactive, is the ability to actually sort of plan out your steps, because you'll know after you figure out your offsets, of course, what the offsets are going to be and how you're going to move around the maze. And essentially, it's just kind of finding that one spot that works and sort of trying to get your way there, because the keys is going to be the tricky part, and it's a tricky module overall, but it's a very fun one to do. So let's go over one more example. I'm going to go through this a little bit faster, because obviously I didn't expect this would take me 30 minutes, but I kind of screwed myself in the middle of that. So let's go over one more example. Okay, so we have red is 1. Immediately I can see that right off the bat. Green is a 2. Very nice and easy. Green is 2. And blue is Bravo, because that's an inverted Bravo, because the blue is only present in these top 2 bits, which doesn't form anything. And if we scroll down here, the Bravo inverted is indeed these top 2 bits, as we can see right here. The Bravo is going to be the U. All those green and red, and then that one black spot under the top left. All right, so now that we have our mazes figured out, let's get the rotations done. So let's do, so red and yellow are going to be in the top right, so let's do U and U, and then blue is going to be in the bottom right, so we'll do both horizontal and the vertical, like that. Now, our exits are going to be located Charlie 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, Charlie 2, 3, 4 for you, green, Charlie 6, and then blue is into the bottom right. Very nice and easy for that stuff. And now our defect spaces, red equals, green equals, blue equals. Let's figure this out. So we have the endings in sequence, 0, 0, 0, 1. I believe that's 0, 0, 1, 0. 0, 0, 1, 0. Yeah, because there's a little bit of a gap before the ending sequence. Before that long flash, it's going to be your key there. So there's a little bit of that gap there. So that's going to be a 0, 0, 1, 0 for red. Ending sequence, bam. I believe that's a 1, 0, 1, 1. Because it flashes immediately afterwards, after the long break. And then it has a little bit of a gap in between. And then it flashes at the same time with red. And then it flashes another one before the break afterwards. So that's going to be a 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. Now for blue, 1. I believe that's also another 1, 0, 0, 1 that we had from beforehand. So 1, 0, 0, 1 flashes before, after. It flashes immediately before and immediately after. So this is going to be our defects. So 0, 0, 1, 0. 0, 0, 1, 0 is going to be are either 1 or 4 spaces from the center of the grid. Now, for spaces that are counts of modules that are 0 spaces or center or whatever spaces, in this case being 1 and 4, what this means is that it's going to be, can you move up, left, right, excuse me, up, right, left, down from how many spaces does that take? So for example, from the center of the grid, we can move 1 up, we can move 1 left, we can move 1 right, and we can move 1 down, and this is going to be 4 defective spaces right here. Now for 4s are a little bit different. Now there's going to be a lot of opportunities of which you can do 4s from. So we can do an up, left, up, right, and one of the key things that I tend to do with the movements of with these sort of defects is I tend to think of it as a diamond, because in most cases you can actually figure this out. So we can do, for example, up, left, up, right, up, left, up, right, then right, down, and you start to see the diamond forming together like that. And all of these guys are 4 different spaces away. Note that diagonals are never going to be counted in this case. There is no diagonals. It's either up, left, right, or down. Just keep that in mind. That is going to be our red taken care of. Now, for 1, 0, 1, 1, that's going to be lie on the same column as the location the maze was entered in. So entry column, like so. So that's for green. And finally for blue, 1, 0, 0, 1 lie on the same row the location was entered in. Okay, so we have entry column and entry row. This is going to be a little bit tricky, but we can figure this out. Shockingly, actually, these things are really close together, so we can use this to our advantage, or we couldn't, because it depends on the offsets that's going to really screw us or not. So let's get the maze going. We have everything figured out, and let's get this thing done. So we're going to start up in the this position. That's going to be a golf 2 right here. So we're going to go let's go left down, and we'll hit this right here. Let's go 1, 2 to the right, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down spaces. So 1, 2 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces down. So now we're going to end up at the alpha 2 right here. So now we need to get out of this column. So let's go down, right to this position. That works. Let's hit that. Let's go 1, 2, 3 spaces to the right, then 1, 2 down. That's going to be offset. 1, 2, 3 to the right, 1, 2 down. And now we're going to be at the it's echo 6. Echo 6 is our current position. 6 right there. All right, and now we need to simply get out of this row. Out of this row. So let's go perhaps down. And now, if we go down from here, let's try and figure out a good point of which we can enter into the same maze as the red key. And just like that, if we go all the way to the left at Bravo 7, we can end up at this position right here, which is going to be A, B, C, D, E, excuse me, D6. D6 right there. So that's what we can do here. So let's go down. Let's go left to Bravo 6. So we're currently right here at the Delta 6. So let's go left up to the red key. Beautiful. So now, let's see if we can get to the green key from where we're at. So let's try doing this here. No, that doesn't work. Nope, that doesn't work. And the way that I'm doing this is I'm using the highlights, because what this does is the highlight already gives you the offset. It already calculates for you on the other mazes. So currently, I'm hovering over Bravo 4, and it's immediately telling me that I'm going to be ending up in Delta 3. That's the way that this works. Yes. Yeah, Bravo 4, that'll take me over to Delta 3. That's the way that this works. So let's take a look at what else we can do. We can go, let's see what we can do from, I guess we can try this position right here. Okay, so we're currently right here. So we've ended up at the, right here. So now let's see what we can do from this position. So we need to get out of this column. So that's actually really going to limit us to our abilities of movement here. Let's try going up here. I guess best course of action is probably going to be ending up in this blue position here. So let's go up all the way to the top. Let's go right, I guess. Let's try that. Okay, so we're going to end up in Charlie 3. So that's going to be where we're at right now. We need to get out of this row, which is pretty simple to do. And now I think our next part is going to be planning how to get the green maze and how to get the blue maze, how to get the blue key. So green key, we have quite a few options of which we can approach this from. But let's see if we can plan our course of action here. And what can we do from this position? Not really that much. If we were to teleport here, though. Oh, if we were to teleport there. So, yeah, let's actually go this way. So let's go down, right, down to this position. That'll take us to the red. And then we actually open up the potential ability to get to the blue key. So let's go, down, right, down. Teleport over to the red maze, right here. So we're currently right there. So let's go right down, or perhaps right up. And yes, we want to go right down because we need to get out of the entry column. Oh, no, hold on. We want to stay in the exact same position because this is entry column. We want to avoid to have to not have this column be it, because this is going to be how we're going to get into the blue maze right here. So let's stay in the exact same position. Let's teleport to Alpha 4, like so. Let's go right and then up. And now let's teleport to the blue maze. And now we're able to get our key. So let's go right down. We have our blue key right now. So now let's figure out how we can get from the position that we're at to the teleported from here. we ended up at this position. This is the entry where we need to pay attention to. We don't want to go through this. So we have our blue key. So let's figure out how we can get to the green key from here. This is probably the trickier part of it. So we need to get to one of these positions over here. Can we do that? So our current position, what does it allow me to do? So it allows me to go up and to the left, ooh, okay, let's try and see if we can do something here. Yes, I think we can. Because what we can do is we can immediately just teleport right on top of the green key. So let's do that. So let's do, so from our current position right now, so we need to get to, we can actually just teleport from right here. So let's teleport right here to this little portion at Bravo 6, like so. Let's go, so we're currently right here. So let's go down left. Yeah, down left. Let's go there. Down left, avoiding the defect spaces. That's going to land us on top. So what we can do, if we happen to land on top of a key, all we can simply do is just move down up, or just one direction and then move right back to it, like so. And now we have our green key picked up. Remember that we landed on this current position, so we need to make sure that if we want to leave this maze, we need to make sure we leave this column. So for red is a Charlie, as I can see here. Charlie is representing the yellows and the red, and nothing else. That is it's a big uppercase Charlie. In some cases, it's going to be uppercase. In some cases, it's going to be lowercase. That's just the way that this was made. But Charlie is going to be uppercase, and it actually helps you with the 7-second display reference because some of them are a little bit weird. So we're going to be using Charlie for red. Green is going to be, I believe that's our gibberish one, because we have the yellows and the cyan, which is not forming anything. If we inverse it, it's simply not forming anything either. So I believe green is going to be our gibberish again. And then we have the blue. Blue is the exact, blue is a 1. Blue is a 1 right here. It's a Charlie 1 in the green maze. So let's take a look here, and let's figure out how we can get from Charlie 1 in the green maze, and let's figure out how we can exit this maze. So what our goal here is going to be probably actually working our way back to what we originally were going for. We want to get to the blue maze, the blue key, where it was right here, because that's going to be a good point to get to. But of course, there is many different ways that we can go through this. However, it appears that the best route and course of action is going to be this way. So let's figure out if we can get perhaps to this portion, or this portion, or excuse me, red. Let's figure out how we can get to the red, from the red maze to the green maze in these positions here. So a lot of it is going to be reliant probably on this space, and it's going to loop back around to this part here. So can we get from the green maze to the blue maze to the red maze and get to one of these two positions here? That is the trick part of this question. So let's figure out what we can do. So perhaps if we teleport here, we would end up at the echo 2 right here. If we were to go up, left, or up, right, for example, right, down, that would be the same row, so that would not work for us. If we were to go left, then up, for example, and then we would go to the delta 1, right, down. Oh, here we go. So we have an option. So we can go, so let's go left, so let's go down, left, up, teleport from here, all the way up here. Let's go, we're currently at delta 1, so let's go right and down, teleport to the red maze. And we're currently at the top right. Now if we go down, left, or if we even go down, go down once, we are in the position of which we need to be. So if we go down, right, and finally up, just like that, is a solved module. Now, some cases are easier than others. Some cases you can get really lucky with these the defects. However, it's just a lot of planning and thinking about doing steps ahead. But as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to stay crazy, stay cool. Thanks for bearing with me on this very long tutorial. I didn't mean for it to be this long. But yeah, this is this module. It's a very tricky Speaking Evil module, but it's a very fun one when you know it. So, bye-bye.